There's a curious link between sex and violence that many writers and directors have attempted to explore, to varying degrees and effect. Some manage an almost seamless blend between the two, while others just throw in some raunchy scenes because they want to see some naughty bits. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 sexiest horror films. Number 1, X. Written, directed, produced, and edited by Ty West, we have this sensational slasher starring Mia Goth in dual roles, Jenna Ortega, Martin Henderson, Brittany Snow, Scott Muscati, and Owen Campbell. And we get a different kind of slasher film. We follow a group of people as they travel to rural Texas in 1979 to film some adult entertainment. But after night falls, it becomes a game of survival. We mainly follow Maxine, played by Goth, but I'll tell you, the way Wayne cares for Maxine is something else. He's very attentive to her, and since he's also the producer of the film, he knows sex is just sex. The way he caresses her legs as they sit on the couch after a long day of filming seems relaxing, but also reassuring her that he's there for her needs. There's also a moment when Bobby Lynn starts to sing Landslide while Jackson plays the guitar, giving these two that ultimate connection. It's something so simple, but it adds to that sensuality behind the song and the relationship. Then we have Lorraine, the younger, quieter girl in the crew, who is very curious about what they do and why. She gets them to explain to her a connection is more than just sex. It's about knowing people. Sure, sex is fun and they love it, but without a deeper connection, it's just an act. This notion intrigues her even more, leading her to say she wants to be in the film herself. However, her boyfriend RJ says no, claiming he can't rewrite the film. They've already shot so much of it and whatever else he can think of. RJ wants Wayne to back him up, but Wayne says, let's go for it, allowing Lorraine to partake in the activities. Later on, RJ is seen in the shower, letting the water cascade around him as he starts crying, knowing this is too much for him and he didn't want his girl with anybody else. What guy would? Anyway, he ends up taking off and meets up with Pearl, the old lady from the main house. And she wants to have sex. She'd prefer from her husband, but that's not going to happen right now due to his heart. As RJ rejects Pearl, she slowly stabs his neck till there's nothing left. Pearl is the woman who just wants to be loved by her husband, Howard, but they're not able to have that physical connection anymore, and Pearl is so frustrated with him, yet jealous of these young people having all the sex they want. Pearl is especially jealous of Maxine, as Maxine looks like her younger self, even going as far as watching Maxine and Jackson in their part of the film, picturing herself on top of Jackson, not Maxine. Mia Goth playing both Maxine and Pearl is probably the best aspect of this film, showing the difference of the young and the old when it comes to physical connections with a partner. Even getting the mannerisms down to be that older version of herself is just so well done. Make sure to check out this gem out on Max, Hulu, Sling, Roku, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 2, Under the Skin. One of the things I love about films is sometimes there can be so many interpretations of it. In 2013, science fiction film directed by Jonathan Glazer, starring Scarlett Johansson, is one of those films. We follow an unnamed woman who drives around Scotland looking for men, more so men that are alone or wouldn't be missed too quickly, luring them into the black abyss. I will say the imagery in this film is one to be experienced, as there are certain scenes that just floored me. One in particular, the woman leads a man into her dark space, walking away from him. He slowly walks into the ominous water, unseen by the naked eye. As he sinks, he comes face to face with the previous victim. Touching his fingers, gets startled, and the previous victim dries up, getting sucked into this new form resembling the female reproductive organs in such a way that brings beauty to being a woman. Aside from that, the men she ends up talking to, usually you can tell, they just want her for a one-night stand. But none ever get so lucky. The main male that we see throughout the film seems almost like her master or king, something along those lines. Often expecting her to a full degree, protecting her and cleaning up her messes. The final guy we meet, though, is the one that every woman knows. Nice to your face, caring, compassionate. But the second you let your guard down, they're in your pants whether you want it or not. She first meets him walking a trail, and he seems really nice, just letting her know to take care, that it's slippery due to the weather, what have you. Till she walks away and he goes in the opposite direction. Later in a building, finally catching some sleep when she is woken by that hiker's fingers deep within her. So she quickly runs away, but not fast enough. He catches up to her, pinning her to the ground, wanting to do all the things he can to her, until he rips her skin. Dazed and confused, she's able to walk away and drops to her knees, peeling the rest of her skin off, staring at her previous face, when the hiker comes up, dousing her in gasoline and setting her on fire, as she runs out of the woods into an open field and burns to death. One thing I have to mention, men and women will appreciate this film in different ways, but I would love to know your thoughts after you check this out on Fandango, Prime, Google Play, or Apple TV. Number 3, Cat People. 1982 saw the remake of the 1942 film Cat People, directed by Paul Schrader. The beginning scene shows us a village of people living beside wild dogs and black panthers, as they take a woman to the only tree in sight, tying her to it as a panther stalks forward, with fear in the woman's eyes as the panther stands up against her, till the next morning she's walking away, led to a cave where she once again meets the panther. With both of their eyes staring into each other, the tension builds. Cut to present day. We follow Irina, who is going to New Orleans to meet up with her brother. After Irina gets there, the night falls, and we see a prostitute go into a hotel where she expects to find her next job. Instead, comes face to face with a panther. One day, Irina goes to the zoo and meets Oliver, one of the zookeepers, who becomes interested in her. But she's still a virgin and drawn to the newest panther. Turns out, it's her brother. The relationship that her brother wants from her is more sexual, as there's this myth stating only panthers can mate with others, or they have to kill. Irina, who's been raised by humans, finds this almost appalling, really only having an interest in Oliver. Irina's brother is able to tell her all about their heritage and continues on with his advances, but her love for Oliver wins over. My favorite part about this film is the final act, when Irina is still in her human form, knowing she's a danger to the one she loves. She begs for him to kill her, or just let her be with her own kind, knowing it's the safest route, protecting him at all costs. Oliver can't let her go though, and keeps her at the zoo in her panther form. The tension between Irina and her brother is just weird, but with that understanding of who they are, it kinda makes sense. What Irina and Oliver have though is something much deeper, yet I don't know if I agree with it. I can't forget to add in, David Bowie adding the vocals with the score is more essential than anything, as he can bring out the emotions in just his voice alone. So take some time to enjoy this classic on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 4, Jennifer's Body. Megan Fox as a succubus is probably the best thing you'll ever see. I was skeptical back in 2009 when this film premiered, but damn, I'm glad I saw it. Amanda Seyfried co-stars with Fox as their best friends in high school, and of totally different cliques. Jennifer, played by Fox, is the popular beauty who often bullies Needy, played by Seyfried. But the two have a lot of history with each other. One night, as the two head to a bar to check out the newest band, A fire breaks out, and Jennifer leaves with them, even though Needy warns her not to. Later, Jennifer shows up at Needy's house, and things become weird for both of them. Jennifer starts acting like nothing is wrong and has this attitude of, "It happened, get over it." But Needy is worried and shares her concerns with her boyfriend Chip, who already doesn't like Jennifer. After some time, Jennifer begins to look more run down, so she accepts a date and takes that date to an abandoned house, where she kills and devours him, bringing her back to life. Let's just say, some people die, but the way Jennifer feeds on people is something else. In folklore, a succubus feeds on their victims, usually by sexual acts, sometimes draining men of their life energy, or sometimes they could just kill the men. Either which way, it's usually about sex. In this film, Jennifer uses the allure of sex to get her victims, never really doing anything with them, just getting them naked and killing them in some fashion. So it was difficult to say it's a definitive succubus story. However, the sexual tension between Needy and Chip is something you could cut a knife with, it's so thick. They're just two hormonal teenagers who have been together for some time, wanting to share their love with each other, and their first time. It's still a great film that needs to be revisited or have an initial watch, which you can over on Tubi, Google Play, Apple TV, Prime, or Fandango. Number 5, From Dusk Till Dawn. Salma Hayek is a gorgeous woman, and putting her in a Mexican strip club? Good choice. Santiago Pandemonium, played by Hayek, is introduced to the stage by Razor, played by Danny Trejo. And as she comes onto stage, the men in the crowd are kind of bored, but she swings that cape around a few times to have an albino Burmese python around her neck as she sways her body around, letting that snake slither its way around her body, tying itself to her as if they're one. The snake is then removed by 2 other women a moment later, and she sets her eyes on the Americans who are sticking out like a sore thumb in this biker bar. She proceeds to take a bottle of liquor, pour it down her slender leg, sticking her foot in one of their mouths so he can get just a taste. She playfully pushes him away with her foot, bringing her head down to her shin and licking the alcohol off her own leg. And then, taking some in her mouth, she walks over to the same guy to share the drink in her mouth. As she lets her hair down to finish the segment, George Clooney's face says it all. He is entranced with the beauty dancing in front of him. This scene alone can sell just about anybody, but the rest is a vampire killing good time. George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino star as the Gecko brothers, Seth and Richie, who robbed a bank, and then Richie rapes and murders a hostage, causing them to kidnap a family to get them into Mexico. Written by Tarantino, directed by Robert Rodriguez, this 1996 Western horror film needs to be on your watch list, whether for Selma alone or for all the vampires you could imagine. Check it out on Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango, or Prime. Number 6, The Neon Demon. The sexual tension in this 2016 psychological horror directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, starring Elle Fanning and Keanu Reeves, is through the roof. We follow Jessie, a 16-year-old who just moved to LA to become a model, when the other models become envious of her beauty. Jessie is the personification of the innocence, lust, and ambition that strives in the entertainment industry, being everything producers, photographers, and everybody else in between wants. One of the girls, Sarah, asks how it feels to be the one everyone admires, when Jessie replies with "it's everything," causing Sarah to attack Jessie, cutting her hand and then sucking the blood off her hand. Jessie, one night, woken from a nightmare, sees that somebody is trying to get into her room, where she quickly runs and deadbolts the door, causing the man to put his attention on a 13-year-old next door. Jessie tries to seek refuge from that night at one of her friends, Ruby's house, where Ruby learns of Jessie's virginity then proceeds to try to sexually assault her. Failing at the act, Ruby goes to her second job and releases that pent-up lust with a corpse. Gross. There are scenes that just heighten the tension. All the women needing the purity Jessie resembles deep within themselves. They ultimately attack her and consume her, leaving nothing left. Yet still unable to elevate themselves, they too slowly succumb to illness. It's a different take on sexuality, but the way the lights hit each character, the camera angles, and the score accompanying each scene will travel from the screen to every one of the senses, making it for a more intriguing film than we originally expected. So take some time to devour this film on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 7. Embrace of the Vampire. Alyssa Milano and Martin Kemp star in this 1995 erotic horror that was released direct-to-video. Charlotte, played by Milano, is a good girl, not participating in activities that could cause some dishonorable things to her morals, making sure to leave sex, drugs, and alcohol away from her. However, her dreams lead her down a path of wanting more from a man than she ever knew she wanted. A vampire hunts for her, believing she is the reincarnation of his long-lost love that died many years ago. Vampire often visits Charlotte at night, causing a rift in her day-to-day life as she is drawn to the mysterious man who so clearly is infatuated with her. He gives her the key of life one night, which causes Charlotte to become a little more risque, dressing in ankle boots and a short, almost revealing black dress, where she goes to a party getting more than she bargained for. Charlotte then gets turned on by Vampire protecting her, killing one of the girls by bashing her head into a door. The way Charlotte dances with one of the guys, touching him, caressing him, so tender and sensual, bringing his and her senses all to the forefront. This film plays with the viewer's senses, becoming visually stunning as the characters come together, and the music behind each act. So test your senses and check this out on Tubi, Plex, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 8. Knock Knock. The mastermind that is Eli Roth directed this 2015 thriller starring Keanu Reeves, Lorenza Izzo, and Ana de Armas. We are going to have an exciting time. Evan, played by Reeves, is staying home to finish a project while his wife and kids go on a vacation. However, it never stays quiet for those expecting it. One night, Evan gets a knock on the door. Skeptical, he opens it to find 2 girls drenched from the rain looking for a party. He invites them inside to warm up and dry off, even going as far as ordering an Uber for them. Once the car arrives and Evan goes to get the girls, he finds them naked in his bathroom, with both of them seducing him, resulting in a heated threesome. The next morning, he threatens to call the police due to their vandalism, but they drop the bombshell that they're underage. Eventually, they tie him up and continue to assault him, always blackmailing him to get what they want. Before you find out the girls are even underage, it gets hot and heavy quick, paying attention to each participant in this sexual fest, enticing the others to give in to their every need, want, or desire, fulfilling each of their fantasies. Evan just wanted the one night, but the girls have more fetishes revolving around the killing of their sexual encounters. It's a wild ride of lust and violence that you need to experience on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 9. Species. The 1995 science fiction horror directed by Roger Donaldson is a classic, with themes divulging into powerful feminine sexuality as we see Syl, an alien-human hybrid that needs to mate to secure her species. Syl at first is a young girl, at only 12, a mere short time after she's born, to a few months later in her 20s. On Earth, she escapes and is on the run from a team who's on the hunt to subdue and kill her before she can wipe out the human race. Syl goes through the city, trying to mate with any of the men she can get her hands on, but often failing, resulting in their deaths. Steven is one of the team members tracking her down and still tries to seduce him, also failing again, but is able to get her next chance when he enters the next room, causing Syl to get impregnated. With Syl being played by Natasha Herstridge, we have a very beautiful woman who is in tune with her sexuality in this film. And being able to control each scene the way she does brings that idea that female sexuality is a very powerful thing. The way she's engaging with the men, the camera angles peeking around the characters, over the shoulders, and through the events adds into the appeal Natasha brings to the screen. Make sure to check out this classic on Tubi, Pluto, MGM+, VIX, Sling, Roku, Prime, Philo, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 10, The Love Witch. 2016 brought us back to the 1960s in style and aesthetic in this comedy horror that was written, edited, directed, produced, and scored by Anna Biller, starring Samantha Robinson. Elaine is a widow who is currently moving to Arcata, California in hopes of starting fresh. There, she rents an apartment from her mentor, Barbara, and befriends the interior designer, Trish. Elaine quickly gets onto a spell to attract a new love interest and gains the attention from a local professor, Wayne. She takes him to a cabin where they enjoy a dinner and drinks. Unbeknownst to him, his drink contains things he's not accustomed to. After the two enjoy each other, Wayne becomes an emotional mess, even dying sometime in the night. Her next victim is Trish's husband, Richard. But once again, he becomes clingy and emotional after their quick affair. Richard ends up taking his own life, and eventually the police get involved, bringing Elaine's favorite man, Griff, to the forefront. She's able to bring him to a festival where they get married, him thinking it's not real. But he doesn't have feelings for her. The way Elaine seduces these men, just by being this gorgeous woman who knows what she wants and flaunts her femininity, we know the guys will be thinking they want her. Her hand movements alone as she does things are almost provocative, teasing others with the promise of a touch that so many lust after. It's a very sensual film that has to be experienced. There's just a limited amount of words to describe Elaine's character and how Samantha Robinson gets into Elaine's head. It really is a beautiful film that you will love. So check it out on Tubi, Philo, Peacock, Pluto, Zumo, Redbox, Plex, Sling, Roku, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at Studios Fat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.